So, it's been a minute, it's been a while since my last video. A lot of things have changed since then. You know, I was a private investigator then. I had a lot of stories and content, just didn't have the time. Well, I'm a police officer now, you know, full-time certified, and moved halfway across the country. But I want to start making some more videos and more content, because, you know, I really do want to help people. And I'll say this right now. I keep it 100 with people. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell it how it is. That's just the way it is. I really don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to be editing these videos, at least at the time being. I'm doing them when I'm on my way home from work, tired, work 12-hour, possibly 16 if I had to stay later, hour shift, and I'm not going to do all that right now. I just don't have the time to edit it and take things out. If I misspeak, if I mumble jumble a word, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I want to make a lot of content. I just don't have the time to edit it, make the video, post it. But I'll make a lot of videos. Just in the comments, just give me some ideas, some things you want to hear, ask questions. But let me get started on the topic of this video. Background checks. So, if you're doing a background check for a regular job or law enforcement, but I'm gonna try to make this video specifically for your background check for law enforcement. Now, when I was a private investigator, one of my main job functions was doing background checks for companies, you know, because a private company can't go really to the police and say, hey, run this, run that. You use, you know, private companies. And a lot of people believe background checks are just, you know, a criminal record, possibly traffic tickets or something like that. That's not the case. Background checks go a lot more in depth than this, that. A big aspect of background checks, even for law enforcement, is that social media. Remember this again, social media is key in background checks. So, if you went to college, you know, hey, you had a good time. Facebook, even old MySpace, Instagram, anything that you think would look at and say, or, you know, just think twice about, remove it. Find time. Don't do it, you know, half-assed. Take 4 or 5 hours, sit down, take your time. Preferably if you have an iPad or a computer, log into your Facebook, you know, all those social media accounts, and go from the day you first posted. You know, on the right it says create a date, 2000, whatever it is. Go to that and start from the oldest, most current. And what you do is you look for things. So look for posts using profanity, you know, you having fun with your friends drinking alcohol. You know, take those posts, delete them. Just delete them. But you have to be cautious about that now. When you delete them, actually read through it and see if you actually post posts that are relating to that photo. Delete them. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. And here's the thing. If one of those photos, if you're tagged in a photo possibly, you have the option, I know at least with Facebook, is that you can try to press a button and it gives you the option to notify them and ask them to remove it. And I guess if they don't, you can ask Facebook to remove it because, you know, you're the person, you don't want them, they're not that flattering. Get rid of all that. Take the time, go through every single post, and anything questionable. Even if it's cigarettes, vaping, drinking, out partying, you know, stuff that, you know, it's like, would I really want that person doing that? Another big thing is this. Hey, I don't agree with it, but this is the way of the world. Political stuff. Delete anything political. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Delete it. If you have a Twitter account, man, take the time. Go back. Delete anything questionable. Take the time, man. You hear all these celebrities and people that, a tweet from 10 years ago because the person didn't think to remove it. Remove it all. Get rid of all of that garbage, those old tweets. And remember this too, any posts with grammar issues, like not spelling a word right, using slang, yo, my mans, or like come-ups, any type of slang or different type of wording that's not, you know, like official grammar, get rid of it, delete it. You don't want it there. That's one of the main things people look at. Oh, I've never been arrested. Okay, well, what did you? Maybe you They usually ask a question. Have you ever done something and broken the law and got away with it on a question? Usually, there's a reason they do that, because everyone breaks laws. They speed. They don't always get caught. So I mean, you could be doing your thing for a long time, just never been caught. So that's why your social media is. Get rid of that. Get rid of, not delete the account, but anything questionable. Because now here's the thing. Let's say you delete all the accounts. They're going to say, well, what social media? Now all places do. But, I mean, if you're looking at it, why does he have no social media? That's weird. Well, did you ever have one at one time? I mean, these are things on background checks you have to think about. And that's very, very important. Is scrubbing it. I'm on Reddit a lot, like ask law enforcement, protect and serve, and people are always asking background check. That's what you need to do. Get rid of all of it. You're not going to have other cops tell you that. They're just not going to tell you that, because the whole integrity. Oh, it's deception. Oh, you're misleading. I mean, come on, let's be real. Come on. You're telling me that when you applied to try to be a police officer, there wasn't certain things you did? Come on. Anyone that tries preaching that garbage, don't believe a word they say. I mean, a lot of people have good intentions and, give good advice, but you can only give it good advice so much. And what is good advice may not be the actual real advice that the person needs. So on the background checks, this is very important. Do this stuff. I mean, and stop and think about this, on the background check when they do job history, right? Job history. Well, okay, stop and think about it. Were there jobs that were paid under the table? Everyone has those jobs. Hey, let me go shovel some snow. Let me go, blow someone's lawn. Hey, let me work at the ice cream stand or anything. Let me do some landscaping, some construction under the table. Okay, that's just a job. There's not a paper trail of it. A paper trail means that they have your social security number and you got taxed for it. There's records of jobs where there's tax. You get taxed. That's a big thing on, just taxing. Now remember, here's the thing. You ever heard the saying that when you talk to police, the more you say, the more you wind up hurting yourself? Ask for an attorney, whatever it is. Well, on a background check or a questionnaire, give them what they ask. Don't try going in super detail and thing. Give them what they ask. Just give them what they ask. Okay? If they ask, now this is the risk you take. If they ask, did you delete anything on social media? I deleted some things that just weren't. I was young. I mean, hey, look at the climate we're in today. Mention to people, hey, look, I want to start a career. Man, you see all these celebrities and rich people. They're getting in trouble over things they posted 15 years ago. I mean, it's a different climate than it was. So be cautious about that. I mean, just when it comes to your background check, clean your social media, clean that online stuff, online presence, and be sure about it. I mean, get that right. I mean, and then when you give, when they put references, okay, so you want to talk to that reference, and you want to see with that reference, you want to make sure, don't just put someone because you don't know. I have a friend that's a great friend, but you'll never put him down as a reference. The reason being is because he will say great things about you, but he will also say some things you need to work on and stuff. It's just his personality. He's programmed that way. He has good intentions, but it's just not the route you want to go with someone like that. And tell them, hey, man, you're going to be getting a phone call from this police department or sheriff's office or agency. Be smart about that type of stuff. Take your time and, find that. And I get a lot of people, I've smoked weed. Can I get hired? I smoked weed in the past. I did this and that. Okay, well, let's be real. With today's climate, hey, if they ask that, be like, yeah, man, I tried it in college or whatever it is. I mean, here's the thing. I'll never tell someone this, and I stand by this. I stand by it hard. I will never tell someone that, well, this will most likely get me disqualified. So, I'm going to tell them. If you personally, if that is your dream, law enforcement, that is what you always want to do, and you will, no matter the cost, you want to do it. Try to get it. But you have to be willing to accept the consequences if you get into law enforcement and something in your past gets brought up. That's the risk you take by not disclosing things. But again, if you believe it's something that is a deal breaker, okay. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? But I have to be okay with, you know what? They found out, listen, that's deception, Hey, I tried. So I will never tell someone, be upfront about that, this and that. No. And I'm going to be honest with you about in law enforcement when you're trying to get, hired and stuff like that. The oral interviews are very complex, and it's all about personality. So I'm going to stay away or shy away from giving anyone advice on oral interviews, like oral panel interviews with multiple people. No, I'm not going to go down that route because they're so unique. And I had a guy a buddy literally, I'm not even kidding, said to them, "Why do you want to become a cop?" He went for a bunch of interviews, but he said, "Well, I want to wear a uniform and a badge. Okay, I want to be able to pull people over." I mean, the guy just was completely blunt with them. He would say, "Well, do you want me to tell you what a good answer is or my real answer?" I mean, it's stuff you can't even make up. And he got hired, but that's just that. I mean, these are just the things that you're gonna have to stop and think about. I will make other videos on preparing yourself for the police academy. I'm going to give you the advice that others will not give you about the police academy once you get hired. I guarantee you they're not going to give you the advice I'm going to give you, but my goal is to help you get hired. After that, that's on you. My goal is to get you hired. That's it. Hired. Anything else after that, that's on you. My goal is to help you get into law enforcement, get you in the door so you have that opportunity, and that's that. That's what I want. And I'm going to make videos about it. I mean, and I can make videos about, private investigator. I will say this. It helped me. I can't tell you how much it helped me becoming a private investigator first, then going into law enforcement after. Usually it's, when someone works 25 years in law enforcement, they become a private investigator. Well, I learned interview techniques. I learned a lot of stuff in the private sector before going into law enforcement. That really helps. The way I talk to people, not that aggressive, respect me type deal. But getting back to the background checks, there's a lot of different elements in it, in different layers. Some departments, you look at the application and it's 16 pages, 18, 20 plus pages long. Another one's 4 or 5 pages long. And another big thing about law enforcement is that every state is different. Every single state. So when you have someone say, "Oh, your polygraph, voice stress test," hold on, wait a minute. Some states don't even do that. Some states don't even have psychologicals. Some states don't have, every state has a medical. They have to have that. Not every state has a written test. I mean, to get into law enforcement, the academy is obviously going to have them, but to get hired, every state is different. There's 50 states. I mean, someone that is from a certain state knows the laws and law enforcement in that state, and then someone asks a question that lives, halfway across the country. If that person in that one state has been in law enforcement 20 years and knows everything about that state, is that advice honestly really going to help that guy who lives halfway across the country when it's a completely different element? When you have, in the one state, every single car has cameras, the officers have body cams, and there's dash cams, and there's, policies out the wazoo. I mean, is that really going to help? When you go somewhere where you have take-home car, you have, you still use dispatch or central, whatever it was, for calls. You don't have a computer in your car. Everywhere is different. So when someone tries to give someone advice, understand, where are you applying? What state do you want? Certain states have the route I took where you can pay your way through the police academy. So if you worry about getting hired or that you have a checker, possibly pass and you're worried about it, you can go that route. Go and pay your way through the academy. So then you're certified, then you have that. I mean, but not every state has that. Again, every state is different. Every state is different. And it's just, there's a lot of different moving parts to getting into law enforcement. And it's not fair. It's not fair. That's the first thing I'll tell you. It is not fair. It isn't. You'll have a guy that has less qualifications than you, that you may know deep down, if you know him personally, he's a dirtbag, and he'll get hired, and it's like, I'm nothing like that guy. How come I didn't get hired? It's very complicated and complex. The more metropolitan area, the more cities, in a way, how do I word this? There's more, the choices are different, rather than smaller area where you can get paid less. And another big thing that you always hear is that very anti-police. There's a lot of anti-police, a lot of it. But in very rural areas, that's not always the case. You have people that will tell you, if I see you on the side of the road, I'm gonna pull over and make sure you're okay. Try doing that in a big city and see what happens to the guy. Try pulling over and say, hey, you need help? Good luck with that. But I mean, there are people that will try buying your meals. There are places where you don't have to worry about getting a meal if the employees are going to mess with it. In other places, you have where the officer, the deputy won't trust buying food. He brings his own lunch, whatever it is. But I mean, everywhere is different. But on a background, check is the social media is a big, big part of it. Job history, this and that, credit history. I mean, not every agency, not every place asks all of this. But the big thing with background checks are, understand this. How bad do you want to get hired? How bad do you want it? How bad do you need it? How bad is your drive for it? If you do what you do to get in it, go ahead. But if you're gonna do certain things and try to, get around or skip or do things, well, you have to accept the consequences if it's found out. But that's the big, big, big deal with background checks. I could get into interviews, but I mean, I don't think I'm gonna do that right now. I think this video's been long enough. I can make follow-up videos about background checks, but again, I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna tell you what the cops tell you. I'm not gonna give you that generic, integrity. Oh, this, and that. Oh. I mean, come on, no. It's not me. It's not me. A lot of other cops don't like me. It is what it is. So, it's law enforcement is the way it is. I mean, there are places and agencies that don't even do drug tests. Now, it may not be that it's just that they don't think of it. They don't have the resources for it. Hiring advice, that's another video in itself, and that could be even longer. I could make this video much longer, but Tired is basically a summary. I'm honestly just probably going to post it, not even go through it and look at it, because I don't have time to edit any of that. But that's hope to give you a little bit of advice on a background check from the law enforcement side, civilian side. I mean, it all depends. You'll have a background check that'll take a day. You have one that'll take 8 months. It all depends. But this is the advice I wanted to give. I'll make more videos. Best of luck.